What is going on, everybody? Corey here with another video for this is another creator spotlight video. And if you didn't check out the last one I did on Justin Miller, definitely check that out. Like any of my videos, is a little bit of going to be me kind of falling off topic, me rambling a little bit, because that's just what I do. I'm one take Corey, and I don't do a bunch of editing because I'm lazy. Maybe that'll bite me in the butt someday, but that's just how I am. Today's video, or creator spotlight, is for a creator that I don't necessarily care for the person. So like me, like Justin Miller, I'm a huge fan of all of his work. I'm a huge fan of Justin, and super nice guy. I've had some communication with him and some interaction. This person, I've not had interaction. I don't necessarily. I think that if we were to talk, if we were to meet, we'd probably hit it off, get along, and my whole, thoughts on this individual would completely change. And that is Craig Petty. So if you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that I'm not the biggest Craig Petty fan. But I am going to go in here into this on an even playing field. I'm not going in here to necessarily bash anything. And just kind of talk about what he's put out, because personal feelings aside, when you look at some of the things that's been created by Craig, he has put out some really good magic. Everything I'm reviewing or looking at today in this creator spotlight is going to be newer stuff. So for most people, you know that he left the magic community for a while, and then came back after, I don't even know how long it was, maybe 9 years, like the beginning of the pandemic, because I think is when he made his return. So I'm not going to look at really anything pre him taking a break, unless I mention something that happens to be from that period. And he's been putting out a ton of stuff over the last couple of years, so let's just kind of jump right into it, talk a little bit about it, kind of tell you like my ratings, my thoughts on it. And yeah, let's just do this thing. So first up, physical things that I don't have in front of me because they're not a physical product are his lectures. So I've watched his At the Table lecture from, I don't even remember when it was from. But his Murphy's At the Table lecture, which is actually really, really good stuff. If I remember correctly, there's a couple things I didn't care for it, but good lecture, long lecture, and that's actually a trend you're going to see with Craig is long instructions, long bits of information from Craig. And then his most recent Penguin Live lecture, I went ahead and purchased. And again, like he's got a lot of good commercial stuff on there. It's long. I want to say it was close to 3 hours long of a lecture. Maybe over, I don't remember exactly, but worth a check out. Again, he's got working material, and that's the thing. I always have to applaud any creator. I think a lot of people, when they see working material, like, oh, that's too simple. It's all stuff that you can, you could just buy at a magic shop or make yourself, and it's simple, and no one cares about that. No, that's working material, and Craig has a lot of workers material, stuff that you can go and do table hopping with, or you can go do your close-up gig or whatever you want to with his material. And I appreciate that. The longer I've been in magic, I've been involved in magic now for almost 34 years, and I appreciate workers material more and more. Stuff that I can take and go, it's surefire, it's not going to fail me unless I completely blunder the effect. So his 2 lectures, you're going to spend, I think the Penguin lecture's right now $40, and then his At the Table lecture is going to be like another $10 roughly. I don't have any of the prices marked down, but rough cost for those lectures. And if you're a Craig Petty fan and you've not got those lectures, you should pick them up. Definitely pick them up. But if you're not sure, Craig, maybe you've never seen them, check out his YouTube channel for one. But I would go with the At the Table lecture first, because it is the cheaper lecture, and get a feel for what he does if you've never, for somehow, ever heard of Craig Petty. But now let's get into some physical products. I'm going to save this one here because I've got some thoughts on that. I've got some thoughts. The first, well, actually, let me go with the first. One of the first things I think he put out when he came back, and that is Gossip. This is essentially a one-page book test, in my opinion, how I look at it. You have a page torn from a magazine. You keep it folded up in your wallet, which I'm a big fan of. You hand it to someone, get them basically to narrow in on a name on the magazine page, and you're able to then have a prediction set aside, have a bait, like I think in the explanation video he has like a baby gag in there maybe. I don't remember, it's been a while since I've watched it, but Gossip is, I'm always going to have a special place for things that I consider EDC, or like things that I can just have on me for the heck of it. I have a trick that I've been working on, that I'm still tweaking. I've been working on it for a couple of years now, which is the same concept. It's having just something that fits in my wallet, folded up, that I can pull out and say, hey, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's something that I like about this, is you have, I want to say it's like the richest women, most loved men. So it's like your top 10 list. And I don't know if I can show too much of this without giving much away. Yeah, I can't. I'll just cover up something because I don't know how much is going to give away. But you have your top 10 list of your celebrities. So you can take this page, you get a few refills, take this page, fold it up, put it in your wallet, and you've got a killer effect that you have on you at all times. So Gossip, I highly recommend. I don't remember it being horribly expensive. This is from Alakazam. So there is that. That's the only place I'm aware of that you can get this from, but highly recommended. Next up is Visible. This came out, obviously, from the 1914. And Visible is Craig's Invisible Deck project, basically. A lot of instruction, a lot of material, and you're going to hear that from me a ton. Craig doesn't put anything out lightly when it comes to instructions. And honestly, I wish he did write-ups with it, because I hate learning from video. I'm a sit-down and read from a book person. I just find video really annoying, and you can't fast forward through some fluff. I'm not saying that Craig has a lot of fluff on there, but like when you're going over the things, you just look quick, yeah, I got it, move on. So I prefer things in writing, but this is Craig's Invisible Deck project. You get 2 invisible decks with this. And, you know, the short, sweet, high level of it is you're going to learn a bunch of routines using an invisible deck, using a rough smooth, in ways outside of what you usually see with an invisible deck. So you're not doing just, he goes over like the initial original handling that we all know, we all see. But one of the reasons I like this is because I hate the invisible deck. And that may shock a lot of people. I know a lot of people love it. I had to demo it all the time when I worked in a magic shop. I hated demoing it. I've always hated the invisible deck. I hate a lot of, I dislike a lot of gaff things. and gaff decks because they're one-trick ponies, or they come across that way. I played around with some stuff, using it differently, kind of like what Craig has on here. But on this instructions, you get a lot of bang for your buck. I don't remember how much this one was. I want to say it was like 30 bucks, 30, 40 bucks. Now, it could be more because I think the 1914 has raised some of their prices. But Visible is worth a check out if Invisible Deck is something that you've become bored with. Or you're like me, you just don't like what you see all the time, which is name a card. Okay, I'm going to pull the deck out. I'm going to go through, oh, look, the card's upside down. It's your card, blah, it's done. If you don't like that, but you know there's potential in Rough Smooth and the Invisible Deck, pick up Visible. You're going to get detailed instructions. And I was late picking this up because, again, I don't like the Invisible Deck. I knew there was other stuff on there. And, again, I'm not fond of Craig Petty, but worth a pickup. Moving on to something similar is this came out right around the time that I was getting really interested in it, and that is the Beyond Size 7s or Beyond Sevens project. Again, this is from Alakazam, and I'm a little mixed on this. The tricks involved that you get with this are great. Some are kind of like, but for the most part, like, you're getting pretty good solid tricks. And my whole thing was I wanted to learn more with Stebbins. I'm a user of the Redford stack, so if you're unfamiliar with Redford stack, you can go from the stack with this quick series of shuffles into Cy Stebbins order and back. So I've always liked that I could go through, do my normal Redford stuff, get into Cy Stebbins, and then do some Stebbins stuff if I wanted to go that route. So this came out at the perfect time. I think I just learned the Redford stack and was really wanting to learn more Stebbins. And there's not a lot of stuff out there that I've been able to find for Stebbins. So this came out, and I jumped to pick it up. It was a little bit pricey, and I didn't understand why you were getting a deck. And this is where my complaint comes in with this project. If I remember correctly, again, some of these have been a little bit, but there is only one trick in this project that uses the deck that you receive. Everything else can be done with an absolutely 100% normal, untreated deck of cards. There is one trick that you have to use the treated deck. And for me, this could have just easily been a video download with nothing attached to it. You do get good instruction, as always. Really good instruction. You get some really killer routines, but this could have been made a little bit cheaper, and not included the deck that it came with. So yeah, I do recommend the routines, and if you don't mind paying the extra and getting the deck, get it. But the routines are great, and I would love for Craig just to say, hey, here are the routines. Take out the one, which granted is a good trick, that uses the treatment, but take that trick out and just release stuff, all the other size 7 stuff, and just make it the download. What I don't have on me that I was going to show next is the Quantum deck. Quantum deck, we know, came with a lot of buzz, a lot of negative feedback based off of the Dishonest trailer. And I did a review of the Quantum deck, and I mean, I feel like I was pretty thorough in that review. Basic effect, if you've not seen it, you let the spectator know you have a certain card that you have placed inside somewhere in the middle of the deck and amongst this blank deck of cards. And you have them name a number between 1 and 52. 1 and 52. And then you're able to deal down the number of cards that they named. And the only card printed is the card that you said was printed. And it's at the number that they named. So it's a card at any number, not an any card at any number. But it hits. And there's so much controversy about this trick. And I think this was the first thing I reviewed from Craig. It's actually the only thing I reviewed from Craig. And I preface it again that I'm not a big Craig Petty fan. But I thought it was a good trick. I've performed it several times. It's gotten good reactions. Lay people have examined the cards, looked through them, and are always just befuddled on what happened and how they were able to name the exact number that the card was at. And a big complaint people had was Craig was doing this for magicians over Zoom, and he said you can examine the cards, which you can. At the end of the day, it is an examinable trick. Will a magician find out how it works? A savvy magician, anyone who's been in it for any amount of time, will probably figure out how it worked. I knew immediately when I saw it how the trick worked. But here's the same argument that I made before. My job is not to go out there and fool magicians. I think, Craig showing it to magicians was showcasing like he was able to, through Zoom, with what he had, which this was released at, the end of the pandemic, and he was performing this during the pandemic, how well it translated, one, to being on a virtual show, but two, just how clean it looked. And I will never feel that trailer deceived me in any way. I wasn't even going to buy the trick, but I wanted to be able to do a review and be able to say, yes, I'm going to touch this, handle it, perform it, and see if it's deserving of the negative feedback. And I didn't feel that it was. Again, maybe a little pricey, sure. But you're getting a lot of instruction, a lot of different handling. You're getting other effects that you can do with the deck other than just the plain, just straight out the box trick. So Quantum Deck to me is I'm still one of those people that, yes, you can do this absolutely gaff-free with no kind of treatment on the cards, with just a regular blank deck of cards. Absolutely you can. But I think that if you want something super clean with limited sleights, it's going to be a great trick. And I don't think it's one of those tricks that you do at every table if you're table hopping. This is one of those things that you save for like that special table. You save, you're saving it for like you see a crazy group and you're like, oh, when I get to them, I'm going to do this trick because they're going to like that. Or if you're doing a party, like you wait till you get to the host and like, I'm going to do this trick. So I don't think the Quantum Deck is for everyone. But I think if you're somewhat newer to intermediate, I think it's a good trick for you. I think if you're wanting something that's going to be pretty surefire, Quantum Deck's for you. And the people who say that there's a limitation in numbers, I have never once had an issue, because the way I phrase it is somewhere around the middle of the deck. If someone picks 1, they are a troll. Right there, if you tell someone something's in the middle of a deck of cards and they say 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, anything close to the top of the deck, you know that they're going to be a difficult person. That's a classic way just to be able to tell who you're going to be working with and what kind of material you need to switch to. So that's like my little rant on the people who complain about the range. And the range from when the trick was released to now has broadened so much because of it getting out there. People say, oh, well, you could do this, this, and that, and you can have this many cards now that can be named. or numbers that can be named. So that's that. Moving on. Moving on to Chop. I really enjoy Chop. I love Chop cups. I've got a Chopless Chop cup somewhere in my magic drawer. I've made my own Chop cup out of a Red Solo cup and a Red Solo shot cup. I've got leather Chop cups. So this was something I was really interested in. Again, it was one of those things, this is the second release, but it's one of those things, not rocket science. When you watch the trailer, you know how it works. But it's good. And if you're doing table hopping especially, this is something really great to keep on you. Or even if you're just going out to the bar to hang out or going out to a party, like having this on you where you can borrow $1, borrow $5, whatever you want to borrow, and do a Chop cup routine with it. I watched just kind of like the basic run of the video. Again, it's very detailed, it's long, you've got some extra stuff in it. But for what this is, for being a Chop cup where you get to use any cup you want, I recommend this. Now, you could do this with a different gimmick that would be a little less intrusive, but you have justification, which I'm not even a big fan. Like, I don't care about justification for props. I never have, but you have justification for, I mean, everyone knows how this works, but I'm not going to pull that part out of it, for having the Sharpie in your hand the whole time. And you don't need the justification. This is your magic wand. Like, if you want to have it be your magic wand, or you take the pin back having the bill sign and you just hold on to the Sharpie the whole time. Like, you don't need anything special with that. But yeah, Chop, affordable, great trick. Love the packaging. Would recommend. I'm almost done. Next up is Keymaster from Craig, and this is a re-release of one of his. Everyone's familiar with it. It's very much like Sankey's Holy Moly, only with keys. So essentially the exact, I don't want to say the exact same, but you get uncut keys that you can use. So if you wanted to get these cut, you could. You don't have to. But you do moving hole, you can do duplicate hole, no hole, like removing the hole completely from the cards or from the keys. Again, you find this on Penguin Magic. That's where you get Chop as well. But this is another one of those good EDC items. Even if you don't want to carry all the keys, work with a routine, just a couple of them, and you've got a good chunk of magic to do. Incorporate all of them, you can get a whole like 15-minute act out of it if you really wanted to. And again, the instructions are great. It's, again, long instruction. It's very detailed. But you can't go wrong with Keymaster. Especially if you're looking for things that you can carry on you and just have on you. If you were doing it for that, I don't know if I'd recommend carrying all the keys. But definitely a couple of the keys. And, well, I try to keep that one short. I mean, it's Keymaster. It's a great trick. Watch the trailer. Watch the trailer for all of these because they're just such great tricks. And now the final one that I have is Forecast. Now, Forecast, I go a little bit back and forth on it. I don't know if I have out here. I don't know where I put it, but with Forecast, you really miss out on, or not that you miss out on, you, oh, let me start this. I might not have put my review up. No, they didn't. I'm not surprised. I'm so not prepared. Maybe it's in here. Okay, yeah, my review is good, so I can actually go to what I was going to share. So forecast is for MEMDAC work. You get a handful of effects. I don't remember how many. I want to say that it's 9. It's a long video. You get the Craig Patty treatment, and you get a special bit in this, which I bought this for the sole purpose that I was pretty sure this wasn't credited. So there is something very similar to what you receive in here that was released by Jason Dean several years ago called Cue Card. And in the video, unless it's been updated, I don't recall seeing any credit given to Jason Dean for Cue Card at all. Which basically, it is slightly different the way it's laid out, but essentially it's the same thing. It's a crib that you get for your stack. Now, with this, you're getting a crib for Mnemonica, and you're getting just a blank crib for you to fill out yourself. For Jason's, you're getting just the crib for Mnemonica. But the other thing is, it's not, I've talked to Jason, we're buddies. It's not even necessarily Jason's, and Jason gives credit to Edward Marlowe that mentions it in one of his books as well about having a crib on the back of a playing card. So for that, for what it is, I don't think you could have had instructions to make your own crib. I would have liked to have seen credit. I'm a big person who likes things to be credited properly, and I don't think it was necessarily Craig's fault or the 1914's fault. There's so much magic out there; it's hard to credit everyone. There's been things that have been released that I haven't gotten credit for that I published years and years and years ago. In fact, I'm going to be buying 2 of essentially the same trick, most likely, to see because I have an effect that came out that I released for free through Magic Magazine, which could easily be applied to the Parsons box and Boom box. That could easily be my routine in there with no credit. But it would be like a natural thought process for my routine. Anyways, that's not what we're here about. I'm big on crediting. I didn't see any credits for Jason or for Ed Marlowe in this, but that being, what it is, the stuff that you get for Mnemonica or for your MEMDAC is pretty decent stuff. There are some things that I don't like. I'm not a big fan of having to write on my cards and do a whole setup like that. I'm lazy. I have horrible handwriting as well, so when I have to write on something, it's not going to be legible. But you get about 9, you might get more than that, you get about 9 things, routines, though, that you can do, from what you can do with 0 memorization, what you do with where you need the crib, and then what you need to do where you need to be, fully memorized. I believe is how it's set up, if I remember correctly. Again, most of the stuff, it's been a while since I've watched it, and I didn't want to sit through literally a day of watching Craig's tutorials and lectures. And that's not a jab at Craig. Craig is very thorough in his teaching, and he gives you a lot. So when you look at something like Chop, or the Visible Project, where you're going to get, or Quantum Deck, where you're getting 3+ hours of teaching, you're getting a lot of teaching and material and nuances to the effects. So that's not a jab at Craig at all. But that pretty much wraps up everything. I mean, I can throw some honorable mentions out there, like Boombox, where I think he does the teaching on Boombox, which is released by Andrew Niner. his section of the Orphic wallet. If you have the Orphic wallet, he has a whole section of like 5 additional things you can do with that. So Craig's involved in a lot of things. He's been involved in a lot of things over at Penguin. Been involved in a few things over at the 1914. He's involved in a lot. So, yeah, I could give honorable mentions for a lot of things that Craig has his fingers in. But overall, despite how I feel personally about Craig Petty, and like I said, I think if we were to just talk to each other on the phone, meet in person, go back and forth, we would probably get along. We'd probably hit it off really well. But he just, sometimes when I hear him talk about certain things in Magic, he just aggravates me. And I think that's just because I'm only getting the one side. I'm not having a discussion with him. So despite those feelings, I have to say pretty much everything Craig's put out, especially recently, for me is a buy. You will see that I don't have forecast in here from Craig. I was supposed to get a copy for free from the Magic podcast with Lloyd Barnes and Craig Petty before it even came out, and I'm still waiting. Maybe Craig will see this video. Maybe I'll put that in the description too, and he'll be like, "Oh, I should probably get that to Corey." I wanted to review it. I do think I don't have it, so I can only give what I've seen for trailers. I do think I think what's included with forecast is a little outdated. That being the little cards for music. But I do think that the routines themselves are good. I think it's just this outdated piece. I think it's just, I think Craig said it's not a problem. Like, here in the States, we haven't had those little music cards since, like, Shazam was big back in, like, 2009. And then they went away. But those are the only thoughts I can give it. I don't have it in my hand. I can't do a proper review. But Craig, if you're watching this, I would love to get playlist. Yeah, I've been waiting for so long. I think I won that back in January. But I know he's a busy guy. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say. Check out Craig Petty if you haven't. Maybe you're like me, you've watched some of his YouTube, and you're like, oh, he writes me the wrong way. I'm not going to support his magic. And I think that's a bad position to be in. There can be people that you don't like who they are, but they put out great magic. There's people that you probably do their magic now that are awful human beings. I hate to say it, but there's probably some people that you're doing their magic, and they're just awful human beings. And you're okay with that, but you're not okay with someone who rubs you the wrong way on the internet. So check out his stuff. If I were to tell you to pick just a couple things, for me, one of his lectures, be it his Penguin Live at 40 or his At the Table for like 10, I would say Keymaster and probably Gossip are probably going to be my top three things, just because I like how these places are small, packed small, and you can take them anywhere. But that's all I've got. I'd love to hear what are your favorite Craig Petty effects, maybe things that I didn't miss out on because they were released a while back before he made his return back into the Magic community. And yeah, let's have some conversations about Craig below and what you like about his magic, what you dislike, or is there anything that you don't like about Craig, or you like me? But yeah, that's it. So I want to thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next video. Peace.